Okay, so what is consciousness? I don't know if there's people out there that are just as baffled as I am. Well, actually I do, because I Google this shit all the time, constantly looking for all the latest theories, blah 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 blah. Anyway, what is consciousness? That, I think, is where they got it wrong from the beginning. And not that I can say what's incorrect and correct, by the way. This is just my thoughts that I'm putting out there. My questions, doesn't mean I'm shutting anybody's down or anything like that. That's not the point of any of this. This is just for me to get out the things that I'm thinking and to see if there's any of you that might be thinking the same, or that might, even better, be having thoughts based on what I'm asking. Okay, so that's how I feel it's incorrect. Firstly, just by asking that question, what is consciousness, is already in itself, I don't know, you can't really ask that question now, can you? Because being conscious is a state of being, and consciousness is a noun. So by calling it consciousness, they turned it into, I can understand why, because they'd like to measure it, but the thing is they've turned it into an objective thing. So, and how do you explain that? How do you study that? How do you study a state of being? How do you do that? So in asking that question, I think it's incorrect to even just say that. Although I do understand they've done it so they can study it. But this is why I believe it's led to these type of things, because in putting it like that, what is consciousness, it's led to being studied in the sense of the mind and the brain. So they've split it into these two things, and there's many theories out there that have like dualistic theories, that have materialism, all these different types of theories concerning the brain and the mind, whether it's one, whether they're separate, you know, many things. Does the one need the other? Can you work with just the mind? Can you work with just the brain? All these other things. But for me, maybe it's first also clever to, well, not clever, wise to distinguish what what it is to be conscious. Okay, so a lot of people will liken it to waking up from sleep. Unconscious, asleep; conscious, awake. For me, being awake means a lot more than just opening your eyes after a night's sleep. So if you're thinking of being conscious in that sense of just opening your eyes, then that's not what I'm relating to at all, or speaking of at all. What I'm speaking of is that state of being aware, being awake, being aware of your thoughts, the knowing behind your thoughts. It's very difficult to, anyways, that's just something that's boggled my mind forever. So if people are let's say using it in the sense of awake after a night's sleep, so you know, you ask people what makes you human. I've asked people what makes humans different from animals or plants, and the answer many of the times is we're conscious beings. And when I say what does that mean, you get different answers, you know. It means we're able to question things, and a lot of them are good, I will say. A lot of the different questions or answers I agree with as well, but I think there's not really a distinction, because for me the difference is we are capable of being self-conscious. And that's also not to say that plants and animals aren't the same, you know. Just because they're not voicing it, we don't know. It's just assumption at the end of the day. But I don't want to get too weird on you guys. What I wanted to speak about is the being conscious, being awake. So if we are really awake, and this is what interests me, the way you function, the way we all function, is on automatic. I know it sounds crazy, but it is. It's robotic. Your brain works as like a system. Just think of it as a mechanical system, like artificial intelligence. And it stores all the information in different frameworks. So you'll have a schema for going shopping, you'll have a schema for going to the doctor, you'll have, you know, all these different situations. Your brain would have mapped out and made a little framework for that. So like for instance, going to the doctor, your brain has already mapped out that going to the doctor entails sitting down, reading a magazine or two, because you know it takes a while before you get to see the doctor. Going shopping, there's going to be quite a few people, maybe it's not overcrowded, but you know what it all entails. Speaking to a friend, it's all on automatic. You're not sitting there being conscious, as in thinking, shit, what am I going to say next? Or, you know, unless you're in a very uncomfortable situation and you're forced to think about it. That's a different story. So anyways, so this, many people like to say, is being conscious. But how is that conscious if you're functioning on automatic? It's all coming from your subconscious mind. It's all feeding off there and the frameworks in which you've stored, you know, and not by choice, by the way. All the information you're taking in through your peripherals or through media, television, radio, all of these things, it's getting stored. And based on what you're storing, your mind is mapping out frameworks to store all the rest of the information, which essentially creates the reality that you're living in. And I know people get weirded out when you talk about reality like it's some out there concept, but I'm speaking about it in quite a scientific manner. Okay, so I feel like I'm making it easy to understand, or I'm trying to at least. Okay, so how can you say you're conscious if we're functioning on automatic? The only time in which we are conscious, actually conscious, when our brains release DMT, is once we are put into a situation in which our brain has not mapped out that situation or event happening within that framework. So let's say, for instance, I don't know, you go to the shop and somebody comes running in with a gun to rob the place, or you go to the dentist and there's a fire, or if it's something out of the ordinary that your brain hasn't mapped out, you become conscious in that moment, because your brain's like, okay, whoa, this isn't meant to be happening, what's going on? And the same goes for happy moments, you know. It doesn't just need to be negative. Sorry, I don't mean to be negative here, but for example, like you see somebody you haven't seen in a long time in a place you completely didn't expect, or we all know, you know, you see those people out in the club and in the pubs and you're drunk, so you're feeling lacquer and you chit chat, big conversation, and then it's entirely different when you see them in the mall and you kind of all do that, like, oh my god, I didn't see you, let's both pretend like we didn't see each other, you know, things like that happen. All of a sudden you're conscious, you're actually awake, then you're aware. So I don't know, I just thought I needed to make a video just to discuss like how people are speaking about consciousness when we're not being self-conscious, we're not questioning our thoughts. Or I don't know if other of you are, hopefully there are many of you that are doing that as well, because it helps to know that the way in which you're functioning and the thoughts that you're having and all of this, it's all stored information. So essentially they're not your own thoughts, they've been developed from some other person's information, whether that's through media or all these other ways which I've said. So I think it's a good thing to think about that, you know, and actually pause for, I'm not saying be aware your whole day, every day, that's impossible, but it's a good thing to just pause and question your thoughts, you know. Many of us, something as simple as, you know, a judgment, all these different things. If you have a judgment based on somebody else, if you're being, I don't know, well, stereotypical, almost same thing, biased, all these different things, even self-critical, if you're being self-critical to yourself, there's a reason for all of this, and the reason doesn't come from you, it comes from information that's been stored within you. So based on what is consciousness, just the message, I guess, to give all of you, take time out in your day to question your thoughts, question why it is that you're thinking that way, why you're being critical, why you're judging, why. Question. Don't just blindly believe it, you know. Question your thoughts. I think it's a good thing. So that's just a little message I want to send out. Please, if you guys have thoughts, send them back. I would love to start conversations based on this. I honestly would, and many other concepts, which we will be speaking about too. And I think next video, I don't know what I'm going to do next video, but I like the consciousness, and luckily it's so vast. There's so many different areas within it that we can speak about, which I'm definitely going to get into. I want to link quantum physics with consciousness as well. So I think a good start of that is to discuss the placebo effect. For those of you who haven't heard of placebo effect, maybe just Google it, get your mind blown for a second, and then in the next video we'll address that. But for now, that's all. Try and be conscious today. Actually conscious. Be aware. Question your thoughts. Question your surroundings. Question your beliefs. Question things. Just question. If that's what differentiates us from plants and from animals, then let's make use of that. Let's question everything. Even the things that you think are factual, or, you know, question everything. And then aside from that, have a blessed day. Bye bye.